Elon Musk on X quote tweeting Ted Cruz about how the European Commission is fining X $140 million and how it's an abomination. Elon Musk says the EU imposed this crazy fine, not just on X, but also on me personally, which is even more insane. Therefore, it would seem appropriate to apply our response not just to the EU, but also the individuals who took this action against me. That is insane. That is insane. Madam Savvy, Elon, there's an effort to hurt you happening by extremists also after games and tied to Julie Inman Grant, the Australian e-safety woman who praised GARM, which you sued. Ooh, the rabbit hole deepens. Government officials listen to these freaks. Please let me give you this information. It's all documented here publicly. I think Elon could do well listening to Madam Savvy about all, because that Julie Inman Grant, who is the Australian e-safety commissioner, is from America. And it's super shady that she's over there and then working with people over here. Very shady. Lunduk Journal. The fact that the EU fined you, Elon Musk, directly is absolutely wild. You're right. If they directed at you as an individual, it seems reasonable to direct the response at each and every individual within the EU who were involved. The EU and UK's war on the USA's privacy and free speech. The EU is fining Elon Musk's X $120 million for the failure to provide data. And the UK is continuing to attack 4chan for, quote unquote, failure to comply with their censorship demands. Basically, the EU, terrorists stabbing children, they sleep. Trump and Elon on X, wide awake. The EU in one meme. The European Union. Imagine you love so much being governed that you want a government for your government. And we have the Ted Cruz post that Elon quote tweeted. The European Commission's $140 million fine on X is an abomination. It's an attack on a great American job creator, and it's an attack on the free speech of every American. Trump should impose sanctions until this travesty is reversed. It is, by the way, what they're doing is a direct attack on America, unprovoked. And they're using, oh, it's for the children. It's to protect our citizens. Fuck out of here. Stay over there. Deal with your shit. Come at us. JD Vance. Rumors swirling that the EU Commission will fine X hundreds of millions of dollars for not engaging in censorship. The EU should be supporting free speech, not attacking American companies over garbage. Now, that was yesterday, and it came through today. It actually happened. Mario Narfal says, the EU just fired a $120 million warning at X, and it backfired immediately. The European Commission has finally done what it has been threatening to do for 2 years. It slapped Elon's X with a $120 million fine, the first ever punishment under the Digital Services Act. Officially, Brussels says this is about transparency, interface design, and research access. Oh, it's just for research purposes. You're not giving us the access. Unofficially, everyone knows what this is really about. Europe wants control over online speech, and X refuses to play hall monitor for the EU bureaucracy. And Washington just noticed. I have a feeling Washington noticed for a while, and they were just like, as long as they don't actually do something, they can threaten all they want. JD Vance did what any hero would have done. The man didn't bother with diplomatic phrasing. He called it exactly what it was: a fine for not engaging in censorship. The EU should be supporting free speech, not attacking American companies over garbage. Musk's response, 2 words: much appreciated. That exchange matters because it crystallizes the growing fracture between Washington and Brussels on digital governance, which you love to see. I want nothing more than America to completely fracture and sever all ties with all of these other nations when it comes to their online surveillance. No, we don't do that shit here. The EU sees the internet as an environment to police. The US At least with the current White House, could you imagine if Trump did not get the seat as president? Holy shit. What a mess we'd be in. Sees speech as something to protect. This is not a small disagreement. It goes to the core of whose values define the next century of the web. Europe insists this isn't censorship, but its actions tell a different story. The commission says X is being punished for deceptive design and insufficient transparency in its ad library. Yet TikTok, whose data practices have triggered national security alarms in the Western world, walked away with no fine simply by promising to tweak its interface. The message is unmistakable. Comply with EU speech rules, no problem. Challenge Brussels' narrative control, prepare your checkbook. For a bloc obsessed with tech sovereignty, this is an extraordinary way to demonstrate insecurity. U.S. officials have been warning for months that the DSA drifts into censorship. Now Europe has handed them Exhibit A. Expect renewed U.S. pressure in trade talks, increased scrutiny of EU regulatory bias, and aggressive defenses of American platforms, and faster tech decoupling between Washington and Brussels. For Europe, a deeper question looms. Is the DSA protecting citizens or protecting political power? I think we already know the answer to that. The ugly truth, Europe risks regulating itself into irrelevance. I'd argue it's already there. While Brussels plays digital sheriff, its startups collapse under compliance costs. And all those startups are going to want to move to America and bring the business here. They are retarded. The industrial base is shrinking. Its demographic crisis accelerates. The dependence on U.S. security grows, and its contribution to global innovation keeps sliding. Meanwhile, platforms it tries to bully, X, Google, Apple, Meta, Amazon, remain overwhelmingly American. Europe is fighting for control over an ecosystem it did not build, does not direct, and increasingly cannot influence without threats and fines. That is not sovereignty. It is dependency dressed up as policy. The bigger fight isn't about X. It's about the future of the open internet. By the way, quick interjection here. Who would have thought that Twitter/X would be the last line of defense for the freedoms of speech on the internet? And what if Elon Musk never bought Twitter? Where would we be right now? Because we already know the people in charge of Twitter before what they'd be doing. So what happens next will set the tone for years. If the EU gets away with punishing platforms for non-compliance, regulation becomes a weapon. If the US pushes back effectively, free speech stays the default norm for the democratic world. Right now, Brussels is betting that tech giants will bend, but X just became the first major test case that refuses to kneel. Europe wanted to send a message. Instead, it started a transatlantic fight and exposed its own anxieties in the process. It's classic. The best part is, because Elon is so tight with Trump, you would think that's the last person you'd be going after if you want to cause trouble, because he has a direct phone line to Trump if there's issues like this, to be like, yeah, we need to seriously talk about a fine. This is Reclaim the Net said the EU just fined X 140 million under the Digital Services Act for transparency failures. What they call accountability looks a lot like control. Musk's refusal to hand over user data and to censor speech on demand has become a punishable act in Europe. Transparency now means giving governments a pro-censorship NGO a live feed of your platform and user data. Compliance means filtering ideas until regulators approve. Yep. This is Zikarishi over in Japan. The EU has announced that it will impose a fine of approximately 21 billion yen on X Corp. This marks the first official violation determination under the Digital Services Act, which regulates SNS and other platforms. Reasons citing include changes that allowed anyone to obtain paid verification badges, thereby eroding trust. Oh, that was the big one, where they're saying, oh, you're allowing anyone who wants to purchase a badge, they can just buy it. So now no one knows who to trust. Elon fights back and saying, yeah, it takes away from you guys controlling who we're supposed to believe into the people deciding. He took the power back. And refusals to disclose certain data to the researchers. The U.S. is strongly opposing the move, with Vice President Vance issuing a warning. The intensifying EU internet regulations are emerging as a threat to freedom of expression for overseas countries, including Japan. This is a worldwide mega issue. For JD Vance talking about it, Elon Musk said, much appreciated. We got Nick Sorter, just in. VP JD Vance fires a warning shot at the European Union for threatening to fine X and Elon Musk hundreds of millions for not engaging in censorship. You sure you want to screw around with Elon and 48, Europe? Sounds like a really stupid idea. And Grums, if the EU goes through with censoring X, the US should pull out of NATO and impose 100% tariffs immediately. Otherwise, the West will fall. Yes, X is that crucial. Eric Schmidt, U.S. State Senator, foreign bureaucrats have zero right to tell Americans what they can and can't say. The European Commission's attempt to censor America's speech is a fundamental attack on our sovereignty. I'm working on legislation to protect American speech from foreign subversion. Stay tuned. And this is quote tweeting Marco Rubio, who said the European Commission's $140 million fine isn't just an attack on X, it's an attack on all American tech platforms and the American people by foreign governments. The days of censoring Americans online are over. Holy shit. You love to see it. These are like actual people in positions of political power in America being like, no, this shit is not going to fly here. Robbie Starbuck, who says, it's time to remind the EU Commission that we're the boss and they're the benefactors. Here's how I'd respond to them trying to fine X 100 million plus for refusing to censor people. CC Elon, Trump, Vance. Ban European tech companies from US app stores unless they prove they won't censor people. Oh, that would be fighting fire with fire. Disrupt their energy flow. Want heat this winter? You're going to have to stop messing with the US. Strip EU officials behind this move of their visas unless it's specifically approved for official business each time until they stop this. Cancel the visas of their kids in American universities. Yeah, I'm dead serious. Oof. 100% plus tariffs on key items from every left-wing EU country behind this BS move. Make it hurt. Only exemptions? European companies who publicly oppose the EU censorship push. I love it. That's classic. All U.S. military bases in Europe cease doing business with the EU cloud companies and internet providers. Switch to Starlink and U.S. cloud providers. I'm surprised for security purposes that they haven't done that already, to be honest. Congress should pass a Protect Free Speech Act that imposes automatic 100 to 500% tariffs on any nation that imposes fines on the U.S. companies for related speech. It also makes it illegal for the U.S. to seize their U.S. assets. In addition, it imposes individual sanctions on the foreign government officials who carry out such a fine. That means freeze assets, travel ban, etc. Again, I'm not joking. Our response needs to be punishing. Make EU ships wait in ports longer. I'm petty. Congress should pass a symbolic I love free speech resolution that states no foreign power or international body shall ever have jurisdiction over the First Amendment. Force Democrats into choosing which side they're on publicly. I would love to see that, because we already know that would make them squirm. They hate the Constitution. Congress can make a lot of this happen by passing the Granite Act. That needs to be done too, which I'm going to talk about in another video. The Granite Act is wild. Enough is enough. We need to put these little tyrants in their place once and for all. Most of them exist because of American blood, goodwill, and money. They apparently need to be reminded of that every now and then. Now is the time to flex the American muscle to protect our values and our great innovators. Lines must be drawn. We'll leave it at this one. Chibi Reviews says, holy shit, the gaslighting. They got the EU government censorship dick suckers trying to community note this post with they didn't comply with the DSA. FYI, the DSA is legit censorship from the EU. And they're trying to do the community notes with this breaking the EU is fine X 120 for refusing to engage with censorship. This is a direct assault on free speech. The EU is the enemy of the people. And they have the EU bots going at it, trying to get a community note added saying, oh, it's deceptive design of the verified check mark. Get out of here. We know exactly what you're doing. You're not fooling anybody. Fuck out of here. It's so easy to fix this, by the way. Like the EU thinks they have like some sort of power over America. We don't fucking need you, guys. You really want to sever ties with us over this? Have fun. Fucking idiots. You retards. I mean, if I was the people in the EU, I'd be like, no, we want a good partnership with America. What are you doing, you idiots? Don't screw this up. What the hell is wrong with you? Oh, God. So I'm very, very interested to see what comes from this. It's definitely not the end of it. But for now, I'll leave that right there. It's gonna get good. It's gonna get really good. EU gaslighting US fail. It 100% was. Exactly. They're the ones that need America. They do. They do. Oh, this is the most devastating. Kage says, I've never played Metroid before. Good God, man. God, that hurts me more than anything else people are saying here. Go play Metroid, dude. The EU is in trouble, and I love it. It's like a self-sabotage right now. Like they're in such a shit show. Why? Ukraine right now? Yeah, exactly. Exactly, like Monster. Don't fuck it up for us. Don't fuck this up. What are you guys doing?